Hello, everybody. I just want to give you a quick little precursor to the audio I'm going to hopefully paste after this. Okay. The audio is Tracy and my conversation yesterday, which was September 30th, 2024. We covered a lot of ground, a lot of information in there that the healers said, or what they're referring to is now the powers that be said needs to get out there, and people need to start to shift and recognize why things are happening and what is going to be happening. So I'm gonna post that after here, but around the 18-minute mark, 18 minutes, 10-second mark, we're talking about energy coming in and how it's going to actually be coming in. And I remember them, showing something about, coming down in through the head. And then they were explaining what was going to be happening. Now, and what they said was, what's going to happen? People are going to start to have headaches. Well, first of all, let's not put that out there. Let's, create that. No, that's not what we do. However, if it's something that you do, please pay attention to your belief system. If your belief system is, I need to go to the doctors for this because this may be something, please honor that. Honor what your body is telling you. Every single person is going to be different. I did start with a headache yesterday at the base of the skull. And I said, okay, what am I going to say for this? And they told me some things to say. And within, honestly, it wasn't even a minute. I think it was probably 30 seconds of that. All of a sudden it was gone. So then I remembered we were talking about it in the video, and I said, wow, I don't think I ever asked you guys what can we all say or what can we do to get rid of the headache if we're experiencing it because of what's happening. And they said, just have your intention be something like, remember, use your own wording. If you need words, you can use these, but start to feel what feels right to you. Just have your intention be, you say or think something like, I now realign with all that I am through all time and all space. Thank you. It is done. Okay. And then take a couple deep breaths. I think when I was doing mine, I was in bed first of all. Okay, it was late at night, and I then was out cold. So if you do that, before bed or whatever, or in bed, you might go to sleep because they might be clearing something. Okay, I hope you enjoy the audio, and please stay tuned after the audio because the powers that be said I needed to do a little something afterwards. So I'm gonna hopefully post a video after that as well. All right, everybody, I love y'all. Have an awesome everything, and I'll see you at the end.
I walked by my calendar this morning and I looked and I was like, oh, it's the 30th. It's the last day of the month. Yes. It is National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada today.
Oh, interesting.
Truth, and I love the word reconciliation.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was like, no way. Of course it is.
Right. Oh my God, I love that.
So I get my monthly astrology report from this girl who I actually do like.
Mm-hmm.
And this week is supposed to be about all the misinformation about the pandemic coming out, which allows new healing modalities to be discovered and uncovered. Look what just popped up on my intel because of my, did you read Sweetages? I'll tell you. So it came in, and it's interesting because I was getting pre-intel about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you that I was doing scanning sequences of me and the girls, looking for snippets to reclaim.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, that re-listening to that, if you just put a dot on a paper.
Yeah.
Can I just go into that right now?
Yeah.
Because Renae, oh my goodness. And I have seen these webs for, I always like to say, wrote them in the book, saw them a couple different ways. Those little pinpoints, all of a sudden, they're embedded in so many things. And I just see them as corrupt links.
Mm-hmm.
And they're inorganic, obviously, right? Uh-huh. They're corrupt, so inorganic. So I would go in and start to identify one, and it was right. And I even looked up the definition of dissolve versus disintegrate, because when you were speaking, you said disintegrate, no, dissolve. And I went back to some of my writings and I always use the word dissolve. And I was like, that's interesting. I'm not even sure what both of those mean. Well, dissolve is to pretty much disappear within the liquid, the wave. Where disintegrate, and I was thinking, well, disintegrate implies that there's little pieces and parts left, which we don't want. It has to be a complete neutralization and pretty much an annihilation of that energy.
Yeah.
So even that was fascinating to me. But what got really cool, and this is how I saw it, there's like one little point. So you just put that intention of pick any of the words, right? Wholeness, oneness, purity, love, divinity. And it instantly dissolves because it can't exist in the energy, right? There's no coherence. So as soon as the one dissolved, like 2 or 3 would pop up in the field. And I was like, oh, okay, let's put, and then 2 or 3 more. And then all of a sudden I saw this web that it's literally invisible, but it's there because it's all these points of incongruency, distortion. And it was like this backdoor communication system between them that's invisible, but it's there. So of course in wave, it's all present. It's all one. So it reveals all. I don't even know if I'm eloquently explaining
yes, you
this,
are.
but
Yes.
it was like this light show all of a sudden, because then, oh my God, there's 2 more. Okay, put attention on them. Well then, 6 more come up, and then, exponential, Fibonacci code, like, you know what I mean? And I was like, holy shit, this is off the charts. Do you see how it was like insane?
Yes. Yeah. That's the only, we're like, oh my God, like how crazy cool though is that? Because like you said, okay, so it's the behind the scenes invisible, which of course, it would be, right? It would make perfect sense. So it was that point, but it's invisible, but the knowing is there, it is. So I'm able to see it.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So it goes into, which makes sense now even more so when they're saying we're going to go more into telepathy opposed to the words, because the words aren't going to make any sense. We're going more into the knowing, because that knowing is going to reveal all that has been invisible, because it's the knowing knows it's there, right? Like, oh my God, that's like so crazy cool.
Okay, which goes into, I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I am so like, got so many things going on. I wake up, and by the time I even was like, oh, I got to grab my phone to document this now, I couldn't even grasp what I was seeing. It's like, you're in a dream. And I remember there was like texting going on, but I was like, oh my God, these sweetages are amazing. And I was like, I get it. I see it so well now. Sweetages. That's what the word was, which is obviously not a word, which is why I love it even more, right?
Yeah.
So I could see that this web creation, just what you said, there's so much we can't see and don't technically have access to, but it's there. So very clearly came in, let's use the example of cancer. There's all these amazing technologies and modalities and intelligence and cures that exist for all the variations and all the representations of cancer, which is what I was being shown as well. You can't even just say the word cancer. Right. Because how many different types and varieties and how it presents in the body, like even in that one word, there's so much, and I'm going to call it distortion, because the word cancer in itself is a distortion. So do you see how in depth the web of that one particular distortion got? Yes, and I got chills as you're saying that. So there's so much to dissolve just in that one word, and then think of all of the words in our world. So anyway, all of a sudden, if there's no web, all of these technologies, now we're in a wave, right? There's like, the web was a barrier, a wall of sorts, a gate. Yes. It dissolves, so now it's all in the wave of potentiality. Like, it's all right there. It all exists. And I just saw it like flooding in. I was like, this is going to be amazing. Like, there's going to be so much stuff available. All of a sudden, it's just going to be known and it's going to be available because, of course, it was already there.
Right.
It just, so then, of course, I jammed on that for a while. Like, how, again, my example with the word cancer, like how in depth and infinite just clearing that distortion is. Like, that opens up a whole, I could sit in there and look at that for a week. You know what I mean?
Right,
now
yeah.
bring in any word, like whatever, our crops of food. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not just in the body, it's our whole existence. But so I'm like, okay, you need to get out of here, go to sleep. Like, it's 6:30 in the morning, you know, telling myself, like, just let it go. Like, you don't have to see and know everything, even though I find it fascinating and I like to talk about it with you. So I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. I need to get some sleep. So I kind of snuggled up and I'm all excited. And all of a sudden, I call it my superhuman senses. They're very online lately. Like, it's like I can walk in a room and know where everything exists, right? I mean, I call that being a mother as well. But so I'm laying there and I'm like, oh, what is that sound? And I was like, oh, it's the ocean. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can hear that so distinctly and palpably. I'm like, wow, it's so rare that we can, because, you know, I live a block from the ocean. I'm like, it's so rare that we can hear it so clearly at our house. And of course, I had to laugh my ass off. And I'm like, wave energy.
Yes.
So I'm like, just got even sweeter, sweetages. So, and then I was thinking of one more thing, and I got to look this up. It was like, particle to wave conversion, don't forget. And I'm sure that I know there's plenty of science written about it, but I don't really know it. But there was one more thing that I was like, oh yeah, even that. And I can't remember what I was thinking of, but it was something like off cuff, not trying to think of. And I was like, oh, it's everything. It's everything.
Exactly. But the particle to wave conversion, what has been written about it, they're saying we cannot pay attention to that. That only limits us. That creates the other, they're saying the other web of deception.
So isn't that interesting? Never even pulled it up. So perfect.
Well, and then they were saying, we were talking about the cancer, and they said, you know, the words, that's part of this whole thing of words having no meaning, because then with cancer, with anything diagnosed, anything, well, even now, like, oh, I have this, but they're going into the sickness and all the names we have for all of these things and the different types of cancers and, you know, all the other things, all the other leukemia, everything, every illness. They're saying, do you see the energy? And can you, Tracy, and I'm going to choke, can you, Tracy, they're saying, can you see that web behind all of the illnesses? Because remember, there was never illness. The human form created it. And I think I said that in the when I did that, when I posted a thing on YouTube, I think they said the humans created that illness. So there's a web to that. In that web, then when somebody would say, oh, I have this or whatever, and then science would diagnose it as a name, then they put that name to it, which created a whole nother web of deception, of mistruth, or they're calling them distruth, of distruths, because they really weren't, there really wasn't that, but they needed to put something in it which became more heavy and more full of more sickness and more things, because now feel sorry for me, which then was part of the webs, the victimization. Feel sorry, this is how I'm going to get attention. Feel sorry for me, this is how I'm going to have to ask for help, because I always do everything myself, but I have this illness, now I have to ask for help. It was never meant to be a sickness that stayed. It was to be something that was, oh, I'm feeling this, I better ask for help. Again, it goes back into, they're saying even way back then it went back into, but it got lost, the collaboration. That's why collaboration is so important right now. Remember they said that in that video, right? Like, because they're saying like that whole thing, it was, the science and everything started to put names to it, which then people started to hang their hat on. And then the energy went into, I would say, or, somebody would say, oh my God, I've got cancer. And immediately the energy was, oh my God, oh, you're going to die, you're going to do whatever, like as it had been progressing. That energy then went on to everybody. The overall conscious has this, oh, you poor thing. So now the minute somebody says to somebody, I've got cancer, what happens is they're tying into the energy of the world and beyond, all of this old energy that says, oh, you poor thing, you're not going to survive. They're fighting that in addition to their own fight. Does that make sense?
Yes. And again, I love how we do this, because that was the complexity of the webs. It wasn't one.
Right.
There was layer upon layer upon layer. And not only it was embedded, these little points were embedded in so many systems and structures, because I thought, oh, I'm just going into the body was my intention.
Yeah.
And it was like, you can't just go into body. It's so entangled and so in depth.
Yep.
And that's why, yes, I can see it so clearly. And it's funny because even, how a spider web, once you get enough of them, it kind of curls in on itself.
Yes. Yep.
Well, and that's where you had to hit all of these pinpoints because of everything you said. It's an energy within an energy within an energy within an energy within an energy. Like it got so deeply entangled and enmeshed. I'm going to say we're pretty much almost at a level of impossibility of escaping the web. Like, we're getting here right on time, right at maybe not, but because it was that multi-layered of entrapment, victimization for all the things you just said. Whereas if you roll back to, everything life is just an experience. Words have no lasting attachment.
Yep.
So even if you say, I have a cold in present day theory, oh my God, it's a virus. It's contagious. It's no, it's just for me. It's a signaling for me, like you said, to pay attention to something.
Yes.
Whether it's rest, put this nutrition in my body, ask for collaboration. And that's why I was writing, imagine a world where sickness, illness, and disease don't exist. Imagine a world where accidents and tragedies don't occur. Not to say that incidences and circumstances will not present, but they're in the now moment. Like this really starts to all come together.
Yes, yes.
Because if it always stays inclusive in the now, it can't be attached to back then, simultaneous, like, if you're standing next to me, my now is not necessarily your now. Yes. Basically what you just said, but that's what was coming in last night, where I was like, oh, this is pure creation in the now, always. That's a lot to wrap your head around. Oh, and then I wrote, there are no guidelines. There is no rule book. There's no answers.
Yes. Oh, I got full body chill. Yes. And that's that whole thing where that's the energy in the field we're into and we're going into. And remember, I think they were saying like September was, I can't remember what they were saying, and I'll bring it back. They're saying like September was this whole big shift, this whole big awareness, more with the truth revealed. But then as that was ending, and I think just as like up to the 15th, I guess it's not so soon, but the 15th of October, this shift we're into that September brought, it's going to move in through October 15th, but the September energy was much stronger. So now it's almost like, okay, we're just wrapping it up. These are the loose ends that are coming in to the 15th, which was all of these things of people starting to recognize and realize words do not truthfully have a meaning. There is no meaning to the words. It's all distruth, and it's all just limitation and fear on that whole component. And the light show that you were getting is now coming into the consciousness of all of these light beams going to be shining down and hitting people and all of those webs. They're showing so they're showing like somebody who, I don't know, they've got some sort of sickness. Okay. And it looks when I'm looking at their body, and I'm going to say, like, just, give it to you too, if you're not seeing it already. Okay. So you look at the body and you can see that it's a very tiny little nothing, but the mind, if you're looking at her mind, it's huge. It's created this big, big, big thing. And those around her are, get to feel like, oh my God, I can't go near her. I can't go near her. Oh my God, but what if this is contagious? Even though it's not. Again, it goes right to what you said. Her now is not there now. They're in a whole different field. They're in a whole different aspect. As those light beams are coming in, that whole light show that you got, it's not as strong for us as it is for you, because you're that one in the forefront doing the stuff. But what's going to be doing is coming down, and it's going to be hitting people's aspects of their consciousness, and not only the energetic form, but in their mind. So a lot more people are going to start to have, remember yesterday when you had that headache? Okay, so a lot more people are going to start to have headaches, they're saying, because when the light hits, it's going to go in, and it's going to dismember before it dissolves everything that's associated with it. All those webs, those little components, it's going to be doing. Now, what will people do? I'm going to run to the doctor because now I'm having migraines, or now I've got a headache, and now I've got this. Oh my God, don't come near me because I don't want to have to get sick. It goes right into the whole belief system. But as they're doing that, they're showing that beautiful light show hitting the energy field between person A, person B, person C, person D, the energy field that is created by everybody else's form of now and their belief system, and starting to disintegrate to then dissolve, because some of them are not going to get right, to then dissolve all of that, which then is going to throw us into a whole other, like by the end of October, people will be thinking they're losing their mind because they're not going to remember things. Oh my God, do I have dementia? Do I have Alzheimer's? Do I have this? They're going to go right into that, which their intention is going to have to be that I am aware enough to know that this is exactly what you said. Everything is new. There's no program, there's no book, there's no nothing. It's the new, and like, no, this isn't what it is. I'm now into the new energy of the now, of the they're not even saying the oneness. They're just showing this big vast change, vast energy field of clarity, of truth. And as that all happens, that's what's going to make the shifts and the changes, not only within their fields, but in the whole aspect of letting go of what words mean, because there are none, and tapping back into the knowing, because the knowing is what has that field of, oh yes, I'm able to see exactly what you said earlier. You're able to see all of the invisible stuff, not really see it, you're knowing it's there, which allows the, whatever aspect of us that it is that, sees that from the etheric realm and all of that aspect. So this is a huge shift and change. I feel like I was just rambling.
That was perfect. And you know what I think is going to be significant? I mean, all extremely significant. But I love that they didn't use the word oneness this time, because I think, again, we're just talking theory at this point, is going to hang people up.
Yes.
Because it's too much for anyone to really wrap their head around. So I love that you just said a huge wave of clarity, truth, wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
That even for me, because then I go into the oneness, and I'm like, okay, so a piece of that potato is me. You know what I mean? Right, yes. But I found it so fascinating that they just said that, because I'm like, oh, I could feel like the hearts of the collective open up and be like, okay, we can handle this. We get this. We can accept this better. Does that make sense?
Yes, total sense. And there's a reason we're having this conversation on the 30th, because today is a big shift in consciousness. Not they're showing the shift in consciousness like in right in the core of the earth. Like usually when they're saying the shift of the consciousness, it's more of the human consciousness I'm seeing. This is right in the core of the earth, which makes perfect sense as to all the flooding, right? Water is always purifying, clear, right? All of that stuff that's going on, that makes perfect sense. And I'm getting a full body chill of why that core of the earth is no longer holding on to this, because in those webs that you were clearing and that you were assisting her in doing so many other things, you were clearing out her core. And do you see what I'm seeing? Like they're showing the core like starting to shine more, and that like the web on the web and the web when it all curls upon, like all of that just being flushed out, all being washed out and dissolved.
I love that you just said that, because I wrote it in one of the things. Bountiful and pure food, water, and air. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Not that I'm not excited about anything, but that just, because obviously I was kind of going into the bodies, right? To that this is super exciting. Like this makes me want to do backflips, and can't do those yet. Maybe tomorrow. I love that. And that, yes.
And that's what we were talking about yesterday too, where all of the elements were coming into play in a big way. Well, now it makes even more sense.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yes, and like you said, and there's 2 more out there.
They're there.
There's so much that is, with the flooding and the hurricanes, and wow.
Yeah, it's all a huge purification. I mean, and we can look at it from the human point, but oh my God, this is horrible. And look at the lives lost, and look at it. People, I don't even know how you would come back from something like that. But it's that point of when you're looking at that bigger picture aspect. Number one, it's horrible. Well, it's not, I guess from the human point, I'm saying it's horrible to say. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, that's what you signed up for when you came to Earth. You knew this was going to happen. And it sucks now. But when you step back and you look, and when you go down the road longer, maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever, you'll look back and say, oh my God, okay, now I see why. And those that, remember they said, I don't even know if it was in the beginning of the summer or whatever, remember when they were saying there's going to be a lot of odd deaths, really weird, freaky accidents and deaths and the thing. Well, this sort of ties into that whole aspect, because exactly what we said yesterday, none of this makes sense of the way things are happening. Right? It makes no sense at all. So, so all these freaky things. But remember, those people had chose to give the life so that they could, as these veils are, dissolving more, that they could be on the other side of that veil assisting, because they were here I'll say the soonest, because some of the angels and that, or the other healers, the other people have been gone for a while, and they tend to forget, right? So these people had said, okay, look, we're gonna shift over, and then we're gonna be able to help not only Mother and Father Earth, but the entire consciousness of the human elements and everything in shifting and reawakening into their truth, because we're going to be right there. And they're showing this really, really thin veil, and they're actually right there assisting and working, because they were ascended masters, masters of guidance. They were masters of universes, of galaxies. All these people that have been passing the last 4 to 5 months, they were all masters of whatever, all these things. Masters of healing, masters of universes, masters of galaxies, masters of scientific, worldly energy fields, which is not really something on the human form. They're saying, but it's in one of these galaxies. That is a something. So they understand they had to be here on this earth to check. And they're showing this little girl. She looks like she's about 4 years old. Well, she's saying, I'm 4. I was 4 in this life. Apparently she just lost her life recently. And she said, I came because I am of this pure soul. And of the pure soul that I am, I am here to connect the consciousness into the galaxies and into the universes. And she's showing this like this, almost like a string, like tying everything together, but it's gorgeous, and it's got this whole awareness and this awakening and all these crystals and stuff in it. She said, as I wrap all of this together, I had to be on that earth for that short time because I had to bring up and connect in the core of all of the universes and all the planetary systems, and I needed that time to do that. So, and it feels like she lost her life in a hurricane or flooding, something like I just see all the wind, all the water, all the stuff. So she lost her life there, but she said that was okay. She said that was okay because that's what I was there for, and it had to be in that time because all the elements came together, and that's what gave me the energy to move forward and to bring the energetic field up in through the universes and into the galaxies. And I see this beautiful beam of light going up and then going down, like, oh, I'm getting a full body chill, right through her body. And her then just like, it looks like she just like, boom, like the energy of her just expands out, and you see it moving through the waters, moving through the earth, moving through the people, moving through everything. And, you know, she's saying, that's what I was there for. And will people mourn me? Absolutely. But they don't have to, because look what I've done for everybody. Ooh, that's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my God. I still got you. I'm freezing right now. Oh, that's crazy. But see, and then the humans, we were like, oh, my God, you know, this is so sad. And it is, because, hello, we're used to seeing them in the human field. But look at, you know, all the stuff that has been done. And they're saying that's the thing with everybody that is dying in these, they were masters of something that is helping the world as a whole. And they're saying not just this world, it's like all the worlds, all the galaxies, all the universes, they're all helping with all of the elements. They're all somehow connected to all of the elements. So everybody that's losing their life in these things, they were masters of some form that needed to be, that came to earth and said, okay, when it's time for everything to awaken and be, we will choose to either be there and to help, and or helping and then losing our life, losing our physical form is how they're saying it, losing our physical form to then help in the massive ways. And you see every single one of them. I see a lot of people, all of a sudden that energy doing what that little girls did, like boom, like going out and all the elements coming together in those beams of light. So, you know, this is really huge for the world, and they knew that that's what they signed up for. I'm sure they didn't know it consciously, because this is the time of the world. Because they're saying even, you know, by at the end of the year is going to be a huge, and they're just showing that big flip, like right towards the ending of December, into the early being like 1, 2, 3. The fourth seemed like it's done of January. Like, you know, let me see. So let me just see December. Look, show me December. Because they're just saying the end of December up to the 3rd of January. It's going to be a big flip. We're going to see that big shift and that big consciousness flip over. And it's going to be such a revival of newness, is how they're saying it. And they're saying that's when a lot of people are going to shift between the worlds and choosing what world they want to be in. Is it going to be what? And that's why intention is so important right now, opposed to attention, because that's what we're preparing for. How crazy cool is that, right?
I think I've told you before how I kept counting on my fingers, like, okay, September, October, November, December, not knowing what that was, but also having a knowing by the end of the year, it's, you know, game on, for lack of a better word. And then I keep, you know, silly looking at it, I'm like, I don't know, that's really not that much time to accomplish what? Well, what you just said, you know. But also I've seen so many times, one, the web analogy, but also how I see it is if you have the planet Earth, but it's like divided into 2 spheres. And I, for years, have seen this analogy of like, just wait, it's going to flip. And it's if we were all on the top, what's half of a circle? Anyway, So it flips, and all of those that have, I don't even have the words, you're free form. So
Yes.
you're good. Like, but those that haven't chosen, whatever.
Yeah.
Jump in or not, you get to choose every day. Everyone gets a choice in every second of every day. Choose love or choose whatever the other is, but choose wisely. Okay. Yes. Are you sure you want to stick with, hate and anger? And okay, the next minute, you still choosing that? Because those who didn't, I see it as a free fall. Like, it's almost like a gravity thing. And of course, this was just an analogy for me of you're encompassing all that is instead of keep choosing that very segmented reality of distortion and corruption, because once it flips, that is not an option. It's not sustainable.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of all those, I don't want to call them, gosh, what a horrible word, extraneous deaths, not the ones you just spoke of. There's other ones.
Yeah.
It's a choice. It was a choice. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you can't keep going this way in this world. I don't even really know. And then sometimes I just look away and I'm like, none of my business. Right. I'm just going to stick with what you can see I'm kind of looking, and I'm like, I'm just going to stop looking at that. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, and I think, again, we have to, and I think that your system does that, because mine does that same thing. Because we're both so nosy about things, and we're like, wait, I need to know. Let me see. And then there's a point where we're like, okay, yep, nope, I'm just like, well, I don't need to know that, because exactly that, we don't. And if we start to nose around in there, we're getting off of the path of what we're here to do.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Man, this is crazy.
Okay, this is totally off topic, but this is like phase 2, January of next year, and even right now, obviously, because I'm already poking into this. This is the fun stuff to poke into. At some point last night, I woke up, and I'm always like, it's like I'm watching 100 scenarios on a big master board in front of me, like, ooh, what's going on in the concept of telepathy? Okay, what's going on over here in the concept of flying? I've got all these things that I've got my finger in.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting. I forgot how I came into it, and then it was you. And it was almost as if there was an Alexa in your house, and I could hear everything that everyone was saying in your house. And I was like, no. You have to change the permissions on that. That's not how telepathy works. And isn't it funny that we're programming our computer system, and it's all about giving each job title permissions of what they can do in the system?
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was like, I'll just be funny about it, at the grand master table of, okay, well, what's telepathy going to look like, when it fully comes online for everybody. And I was like, no, it's with intent always. Like, you just can't tap into anyone's, thoughts and feelings at any time. I'm like, that's not cool at all. It is the same, reason, or the same, mechanics methodology of, if you were going to speak to someone, like I would ping Renae and I would send her a message, or if she was like, ooh, Tracy, jump into this field of knowing that I'm in right now, like, so you can see it. Like, it's kind of a permission based.
Yeah.
And then I extrapolated into, well, is that even going to be necessary? Because are we still going to have this energy of like lies and deceit? And I could see it as a shadow fading away, but there's still a honoring of, we are all our own individuals. So no, you don't want everyone to be able to tap into your every thought and emotion at all times. Like, so anyway, I'm curious to what, but I've already simultaneously moving on to telepathy permissions.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny, because last night they were saying, because I said, with all of this stuff and exactly, what you were working with, so I'm sure we were tapping together. exactly what the thing of all the telepathy and all that. I said, I'm sure that there's things that people, shouldn't know. And they said, when you're of pure thought and when you have your intentions where you are, there will only be that. And I said, yeah, but sometimes there's always the people and of course I said, well, look at how the whole separation started, whatever, eons ago. Obviously somebody had to have control, somebody wanted to do that whole aspect. So how do you stop that from happening? How does that whole thing? And they said there's energetic laws, and people that will break the energetic laws, because right now, notice whenever I'm doing meditation or doing anything like that, right, I'm always calling on the council, because the council reviews everything, right? And they make sure, and because I want to make sure I'm not breaking any energetic laws when I'm working with people or doing anything, and nor are they. So it's the whole thing. And they said now people have to call on them and to look or to review and say, review this, review that. They said what's happening now, as we're moving into that telepathy and that aspect, the council will automatically be there. We have our internal field that will be aware. Again, remember when they were saying that whole knowing, and then you can see all the invisibles? They're saying we will then have that internal knowing is going to be so high that if somebody attempted to come in with a control, or I'm going to watch and see what this, I'm going to see what Tracy's doing, I'm going to see what, and they're like, no, fuck, get the hell out of my damn space, you can't be here. The barriers will go up. We automatically will have this internal, because the separation had started, whatever it did eons ago. Now that's already in the energetic field of, okay, now we know that there's always going to, well, not always, I'm going to cancel that and replace it with the opposite, but there may be people that are going to try and control and go back into separation because that's what they like, that, and do that. So now that we know that's there, our internal knowing is, in a sense, programmed for that, to now say, oh no, nobody's coming in to this energetic field that is not of this pure love or pure light. And even if somebody's coming in with that, oh, I'm pure love and pure light, but now I'm jealous of something, right? You're like, let's say they're coming into your energy field just immediately dissolves that. It's like, nope, you can't have any of that here, because otherwise you can't be here. So
Yes.
yeah, so it automatically will do that, because they're saying exactly what you're saying. It is a program. We have advanced our own internal programming. And that's why, through all of this stuff, as it's all happened, the programming, unbeknownst to all of us, through all of the centuries, the programming has been in the background. Oh, okay, yep, we need to protect from this. We need to see this. We need to do this. Yep, we got to reprogram this stuff. And the knowing, that's why the knowing is so much stronger than it used to be. And that's why I think some people, when they're like, well, I don't know, and they're like, no, you do. You've been doing it your whole life. You just don't see it. You don't recognize it because you've been doing it. Well, now it's getting stronger for exactly that reason. We've got all of these internal things programmed behind the scenes that we're unaware of, so that all of that stuff can't happen. They can't come in. Or if you were like, you know what, I don't want anyone to see this aspect of my life, this stays private. They're showing it like in this little vault that is like, nope, only come when I give them, when I say, oh yeah, check this out, and then they get that permission. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that answer all that? Or I don't even know if that was a question, but yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure this, well, I know because I've been in conversation with you for long enough, that we talk about stuff and I have such a limited understanding of it. And then, fast forward to like now, or it's like, oh, now I'm starting to understand what that means, because I remember writing something like, we will, at some point, i.e. now coming soon, living in an energy where no one can steal anything from you. They can't replicate it. They can't steal it, because it's so authentically in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That even if they were to witness it, it's like once it's witnessed, it fades away. So it can't be retained.
Yes.
Which I'm find, and I think I wrote one of the things. They gave me the analogy of the old saying, if a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, is there actually a noise if there's no ears to witness it? And I remember being like, why'd you throw that one in? You know what I mean? But it's kind of, because it's an energy field that is hard to really wrap your human brain around.
Yes.
But you said it pretty eloquently. Like, there's some things that will maintain and will hold a energy of existence, so they can be shared. But really, the default mechanism is it's always pure creation in the now. So it only exists right in the now. So even if someone was listening to us, the second we said the words, they fade away. They're no longer graspable. You know what I mean?
Yes. Perfectly said. Yes.
Which is fascinating to think about.
I know. Yeah.
Which goes back to, there are no answer. It's always in the moment. So, what were you guys talking about yesterday? It doesn't matter because it's irrelevant because it's gone.
Exactly.
Because it's already different. It's right now. It's totally different than it was yesterday. That's a lot. Even me, I'm like, oh, that's hurting my head in a great way.
Yeah, me too.
Because I remember thinking, there's nothing to forget. There's just everything to remember.
Yes.
Basically, we have to unknow all the words, all of the theory, all of anything, all the the rules, all the experts, all the science has to be unknown. And it was like, no, you don't have to forget anything. You just have to remember beyond it all. Yes.
Which is very, how they're saying it is, it's very attainable in the now.
Right. Wow. Oh, such simple, easy little words. Like, really, how does that work? Well, I just told you how it works.
Exactly.
It's so simple.
Oh, I know. Did you ever have those conversations with them where they're like, yeah, just do this, or just like walk through that wall? It's like, okay, yeah, you can say that all you want, but like, hey, like show me how. And they're like, just do it. Just like, no, I need to know. And they're like, yep, you're in your head. You're not in the moment of now. Like, okay, I can tell you, I'm in the moment of now right now, and I'm hitting this wall hard. Like,
that's such a great example. Yeah, just do it. Walk through that wall. You're like, yeah.
Exactly. Now what am I doing with this bruise?
Don't say it's simple. It's not simple. Well, it is. You're making it not.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I'm so ready for this wave of clarity. I'm very excited about this wave of clarity.
I am too, and I know you can. It's so right there. And I like to go back to the example and explanation of all the chaos is, again, that, I always see like the oil in the water, like the old belief systems, they're so dense and oily and, and then the water is the new, right?
Yep.
The energy of clarity. So the oil seems so like sticky and dense, more so than ever, only because the clarity is so much more pure and attainable right now. Yes. Right? The contrast between the two, which, trust me, I'm saying that because I remind myself of that almost daily. It's just the contrast. It's just the contrast.
Yeah. And I think that's what we have to, like, I love that. I love that you just said that because it's so easy. Oh, wait, it's just the contrast. Like I've got to remember that to be like, oh, wait, nope, it's just the contrast. Because everybody's going through that right now. And if they just start to remember that, whatever words they want to use, right? But it's just the contrast. Yep. Okay. Yep. It's just the contrast. And my intention is I'm here. I'm doing this.
Right. So critical right now. I really, truly hope and believe that it's that purity of intention in who you are and how you show up. So you don't have to know anything about any energy, but if you have a kind, loving heart, you're there. You've got it.
Yes. And I think that's what people need to understand. They need to, because so many people come in, like, okay, so let's use an example. Okay, so I'm going to post this as it is, right, on the YouTube channel. Okay, so somebody's going to come in and be like, oh, I don't know that. I can't do that. No, they're more advanced than me. Like, no, we're all that same thing. No, you are coming in. You're listening to it. Therefore, you have the ability to do it. You have that purity, of heart and intention. And that's what brings that forward. I think people get into that whole aspect of, I don't know. They're telling me, no, everything that we're saying, we're just helping people remember. Everybody knows this shit. We're helping them to awaken it from within, to remember that, just like we were, right? It's the same thing. Like when we had the conversation yesterday, and then all of a sudden, you're doing your stuff last night. I'm doing stuff, and then recognizing, oh, wait a minute, we were doing some of the same stuff. How cool is that? But it was because we opened up that channel to remember. And that's what people have to realize and recognize, that it's all about just coming in as pure of heart and with this beautiful intention, and you got it. And it just is. It's that easy. Sort of like that. It just is. Like, just do it. Just walk through that damn wall, damn it. Right.
And I love that we're laughing, because I was just thinking too about the whole practicing the telepathy. I'm like, of course. And I said in my example, before I even knew you were doing it, that of course it was with you. Of course I was in your house. Like, duh, we were doing it. Renae was actually with you. You weren't thinking about Renae. You were simultaneously. Oh, like, just to point out, even I'm like, oh.
Right. Right.
Like, you're always learning.
Exactly. We're always remembering. Like, what the heck? But yeah, and I'm hoping, I hope that people start to recognize and realize that they do know, and to stop giving those words of, well, I don't know that. Oh, I can't do that. Again, attention is I can't, and intention is, of course I can. Of course
Exactly.
I can. Infinite possibilities, of course.
Yeah. And I love this, because I think we always laugh and have fun, but I feel like there's going to be so much more fun, interesting conversations that are,
Yeah. Yep.
as opposed to getting the distortions out of everything. Okay, let's talk about now the possibilities.
Right. Yes, I agree. Well, and because remember they said in the beginning of the year, like, look, this year is all about truths revealed and having fun. If you're not having fun, you're just going into this other realm, this other thing, and you can't do it. You have to start to infuse fun into everything. And I think that's what I always love about our conversations, because there's always that laughter, that fun. Like, this is really fun, cool stuff. This is really, and if you're taking it too serious, of like, oh my God, wait a minute, I have to do this. I got to, wait, how are we going to, that's, too fear. No, who gives a shit? That was exactly what you said earlier. That was the old stuff. We're in the now. And then now this is perfect. And it keeps changing and changing and changing. And how freaking awesome is that?
Yes.
Man, this stuff is crazy. Oh, I love this. My brain is expanding into I don't know what.
That's what I know. I was trying to go back into some of the, but now I'm saturated. I'm saturated. Like, I can't even like grasp on another thing.
And that's what I love about our conversations, because we both get at that saturated point at that time, and we're like, oh, okay, we're saturated. I don't even know if I could use a human word for something right now, but for some reason they keep showing me this word of quick fill. So of course I'm like, okay, well, what the hell? What are we supposed to be doing with that information? Like, stop showing me that. But they're also showing, like, when I was saying that, they started to show the wave, and saying everything can be filled very quickly with the wave. And they're saying, look at how quickly you of all people, you get this. Okay, you're walking on the water, and you're walking in the sand, right, on the line, the shoreline, and how quickly that water comes in and washes away your footprint. So they're saying that is how quickly we can wash away with our intention. That's how quickly we can walk away we can wash away every aspect of the elements that we do not feel we know. So when we were saying, okay, some people will, oh my God, but I don't know, they don't know. The minute you flip that and you have that intention of, no, of course I can. Of course I can do that. I am infinite possibilities. I am so much light. That immediately lets that wave come through, that wave of water come through and wash away and dissolve every aspect of the old point. And they're saying because it's so inbred in us, where people think, oh, okay, well, I've let that go. Oh, great. Okay, it's washed away. And then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, they have this, well, I can't do that. Oh, well, I thought I let that go. No, because it's so layered in there, like an onion, it's continually washing away. So they're saying just use the quick fill.
Oh, right.
Right? That seemed like a very easy concept, and my brain is like, wait, what?
Well, and I guess you could see this a couple different ways, because if you're at the, again with the words, the capacity, ability to go ahead and wash it all away, like with your intention, no, wash away all the layers, like done. I'm fully going to believe and embody this. But also, I saw it as a secondary. If that is not quite where you're at yet, it's like as soon as you go back, it's a constant like reminder autocorrect.
Yes.
Which I have been seeing more so. I will, be going about my day and I'm like, I don't believe that anymore. That's not my reality. And then further along, it's a different presentation of it. And it catches me for a minute. I start going down that, old path and I'm like, wait a minute. Autocorrect. Yes. That is not my reality. So 2 ways I kind of understood that.
Which makes sense because exactly what you said earlier. Your moment of now is not my moment of now, is not, Jane Doe's moment of now. It's going to be different for everyone. There's a ton of different ways to see this because we're multidimensional beings, which go far beyond even anything that I think I can even comprehend, because when they were showing me all the different universes and the galaxies and the planetary systems and all that stuff, they're like, we are a piece and part of all of that. We're thinking, okay, yep, I was thinking like, okay, I'm part of this world, and then my dimensional universe that I see, and then when they opened up all these other things, I'm like, well, wait, what the hell? So, of course, there's going to be, even 10 minutes from now, you might even see that even bigger, because you're not the same. Now you've already grown and expanded, right? So now it's like, oh, now I see this totally differently. Now that whole quick fill means something completely different. So it's just keeping the possibilities open, knowing that we are changing in every second of the moment of now. Like, how friggin' crazy cool is that? That was sort of like the brain expansion for me.
Well, and it's kind of the same theory and concept. I keep seeing them as presentations of, meaning our understanding is so beyond, back to the word, cancer. I hate to keep using that word, but the more we talk about it, the more we dissolve it. So good.
Right.
Again, there's when you come across a thing that you think you've got over, there can be so many layers of the presentation of that belief. And then it's because, like what you said, when you start to think beyond our planet out to the galaxies, like it's so vast that you really can't wrap your head around it.
Yes.
So let's stop. Because so I'm going to stop trying right now.
Yes.
Because the more you talk, the more I see. And then the more I try and grasp on it and go a little more expanded. Now it's like, okay, maybe you girls should just stop.
I know. We were saturated before. What's our brain going to be like after this? But I love that. I love, by the way, when you just said, okay, cancer. I hate to throw this word, cancer. Oh, no, that's okay. Because the more we say it, the more it's dissolving. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Because we're no longer putting that heaviness to it. It's immediately the quick fill, right? All that water, that wave is just washing away everything that it had meant, so that it doesn't have to mean that it's not a death sentence. It's not this huge fight, this huge thing anymore. We can now go into that. And they're saying, let's now put the remedy, the natural remedy of our body, right? Because they're saying our body has, and the earth, all of the elements have the healing ability for anything that the human form knows as sickness. So they're saying, let's now take any and all times that cancer, illness, anything that is diagnosed or undiagnosed that we have created as some type of illness, something that says that we are not completely whole and healthy. So anything within our entire consciousness and beyond, in bodies, wherever, through all time and all space, anytime words are used to say or describe anything like that, we are going to immediately infuse, we're going to ask for the quick fill of not only our bodies, of the consciousness, and of all of the elements of all of the worlds and beyond, to come in with every aspect that bring all of the elements together to now infuse into the physical form and every other aspect of all that we are through all time and all space, to bring the body back into wholeness and to allow what we would refer to as miracles to happen, so that every aspect of all of this illness now dissolves through all time and all space, and it can no longer be within our consciousness. And every aspect of, again, what we refer to as miracles happen, and the doctors and each and every other aspect have no explanation, because we are now utilizing every aspect of what we know, what we have within our grasp, within our concept of infinite possibilities, as we are this beautiful universal being with the answers and the entire structuring of all that needs to be through all time and all space for a whole, healthy being of light, or whatever other way somebody else would say that. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done.
Amazing.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. Of course we have, and I remember my friend Cindy once saying to me, she said, did you know that in nature, if there's like poison ivy, like poison ivy's there, and she said, so within, and I don't remember the dimensions of it, but I think she said like within like 5 feet of that is the cure for it in nature.
Yep.
So, and I always remember like, wow, that's like so crazy cool. So of course we would have all this stuff. If we've created the sickness, of course our body and all the elements, we're a piece and a part of every one of those elements of the earth. So why wouldn't we automatically, somebody says, oh, you've got cancer. Oh, okay, big deal. I'm going to now pull in that thing. And if I'm going to pull in the aspect to now dissolve that, nullify it, right? And if I need something physically to get my physical brain on board, okay, that's going to come to me. And I'm going to be like, oh, holy shit, I never heard about that. Okay, great. I'm going to now take this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most medicines are derived from an element of nature.
Exactly.
In the theory of it, you know what I mean? So we don't have to go get it from nature. They made it in a lab, which of course would be, in opinion, inferior. But in front of us, that it does exist.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like I always say it's the cosmic joke.
Mm-hmm. Well, go back to like cave times, right? What were they doing? Yeah, they unearthed a body that looked friggin' phenomenal, that was in there for like hundreds of thousands of years, and it looked so healthy. And they were saying like, there's so much health here, like it's crazy. Like how were they so healthy? This cave time, they didn't have things. Well, they knew they were living off the earth, right? They know, I'm eating this plant, I'm doing this whatever, I'm doing all this stuff. Like when you look at things, and even the Egyptian times and all the stuff that is now being unearthed, because they said it's not a fluke that they are unearthing these old, what, yeah, we were in this world, right? These old things of, oh my God, all of a sudden they're finding all of these, they're showing me a pyramid, but I don't know that they have unearthed a pyramid, but they're showing me these pyramid, like all these old time things in these old worlds. of, oh my God, look at this. This town was just unearthed. Where was that? Or this was hidden within the waters, and now the waters have cleared. And look at this is a whole thing. But it's unearthing all of that energy coming forward of this health, of this wholeness, of look at we have everything here within us. They're now finding all of these remedies. Oh well, this was from the Egyptian times. We're reusing them again, and this well, yeah, because they were always here, and somehow in the separation it ended be like, no, you don't know, you can't have, I have to make this for you, which then brought in the whole thing of the medicines and the different stuff, and then through the years for pricing and for gouging and everything else, okay, now we can't really use this thing from nature. No, now exactly what you said, now we've got to make it in a lab because then I can make money off it. And then I could, right? And that whole thing, and then that just continued the separation. Well, that's why now they're saying the doctors aren't able to, they don't understand what's happening for a lot of people because the entire structure of our bodies are shifting and changing. Everything's changing. So they're not being able to diagnose. And when we've had this conversation, I'm not telling you anything you don't know because you've said this before. And they're not able to find these things because we got to go back into us. And it's changing, and they don't even know why, because they're going by science that was so freaking old, so ridiculous. But if the doctor started to pay attention to that, knowing, wait, what feels right, I'm going to do this. But of course, they'd lose their damn license.
Exactly. So, yep, so true.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a beautiful thing because now we're moving into the energy of licensing and certifications have no value.
Yep.
Which, it's a massive correction. You know what else I was just seeing while you were talking about that, back to when we unlocking the core of the earth.
Uh-huh.
The thought of, well, if there really isn't sickness, illness, disease, why do we need like medicinal? And we're symbiotic with, because that's where I see we're going. We're symbiotic with everything around us because we're all one. So we're all always in coherence and harmony, maybe at different levels, but there's no, negativity or, dissonance.
Yes.
But I like to look at the herb component. So if there's different, like even I'm trying to think of, there's all the herbs, ashwagandha, even like basil and mint and, all of these things that are the medicinal that the ancients used to use for medicine. How cool will it be? So let's say if you're doing some, you're hiking Mount Himalaya, well, these 6 herbs would be really beneficial to like nourish your muscles and give you strength. Or if you are, doing a project that requires your brain to be really clear, well then, these herbs accentuate that component. Do you see how like it's still, they still exist and are beneficial, but it's all like for good, for excitement, for creation. Whereas, in the world we are getting out of, most everything is to solve a problem, it's the opposite energy.
Yes, perfect. Yes, I love that.
So just, because sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, is the world going to be so boring if there's no problems to solve? And it's like, no, all that time, energy, and material for creation expansion, like that's endless. No.
Yes. Hello. Thank you so much for making it through the audio, because I know that was a long one. And I really appreciate you listening to it all, or fast forwarding, whatever you did. Hopefully you will have gotten as much as I got out of it in having the conversation, because things always come through and you get a lot of wisdom and information. So hopefully you got some wonderful things out of there. And what the healers asked me to also do was pull 3 cards, which I have not done in forever. I mean, years and years and years. I had recently had a conversation with the Intuitive Souls group that Christine DeMuth runs. And I had pulled up, because I was going back to the roots of what did I do when I started and blah, blah, blah. And I had pulled up this deck. It was messages from the star systems. And this used to be awesome for me. I would pull the cards and I would read the stuff, but then all of a sudden it just started to be that all this stuff was coming in. And it was awesome. Now, I haven't done this in many, many years, but they did ask me to pull the cards. Now, the first one is a star system card, then there's wisdom, and then there's action. So I pulled three. They are saying it's somewhat related to the conversation that Tracy and I had yesterday, but this is even broader and wider for you. So I am going to show you the card, and then I'm going to read. And if they bring something else forward, I will tell you that as well. Okay, so the first one, the star system card I pulled was Orion. Okay, now the Orion says it's psychic gifts, awakening to your psychic gifts. This card is asking you to stretch, expand, and awaken to your inner knowledge and vision. Now, I think it really ties into that whole aspect of what Tracy and I were talking about. So let's see what Orion says in the book, because it comes with this little book. So, Orion, connection with the star system of Orion can assist you to awaken your psychic gifts and clairaudience, clairvoyance, and clairsentience. It supports you to supports you to clear and activate your energy body, thereby creating a deeper connection with your physical body. Orion energy works to support you in connecting with the unlimited energy of the universe, allowing you to access infinite knowledge. Now, what they're also saying is not only the system of Orion, but many of the healers are also saying, please remember and know that you are a piece and a part of everything. This isn't a separate entity from you. This is within you. So as we're pulling these cards and as you were being invited and asked to connect in with Orion, they're saying you are pulling up a piece and a part of you. This piece is coming home, which holds not only your psychic gifts, but many other things. So they're saying just be open to feel that energy. And if you want to pause the video and just ask to feel how they're asking you to say it is, I now feel my energy of Orion and all other solar systems and star systems that I am. Thank you. It is done. You don't have to expand that. You don't have to do that, but that's just something they're asking if you were choosing to do that, to do that. Okay. Then they had me pull a card in there were two wisdom cards. So the first wisdom card that I pulled was grace and ease. It says, we often make life more difficult than it needs to be. This card is asking you to release the belief that it takes hard work or that you have to overcome great difficulties to have what you want and do what you love. In choosing the path of grace and ease, doing and having what you love will naturally come to you. If struggle is a key component in any undertaking, it may be best to modify your approach or release it altogether. Take a look at your life and ask yourself, in what areas have I been constantly struggling? And where do I experience a sense of ease and flow? Choose the path of grace and ease by focusing your energy on what comes naturally to you. And they do want me to read what's on here, which I got to think would be part of that. Know that divine order is in action. This card is asking you to simplify your life. What are you doing in your life right now that seems difficult and is not coming to you with ease and grace? And with that, they're also saying many of us are stuck in this field of struggle, of worry, of concern. Let go of that. And I know it's easier said than done, but be very aware of what your intention is. If you are caught in that struggle, in that, okay, this is really difficult, but I need this because that's what so many of us do. I need this job. I need this relationship. I need this, whatever it is. When you're stuck in there, step back, take a deep breath, okay, which will recenter you, and then ask for assistance. You can ask for assistance from the solar systems if you choose. Of course, we're dealing with them right now. Of course, they would say that. But or you can just say, please give me assistance in seeing this from the other side. Okay, because what happens then it flips. The energy flips, and all of a sudden you start to see it with new eyes. And that's what needs to happen. We need to see things with new eyes. But again, I will tell you, When you are paying attention to what your words, what your thoughts are, what your intention is for that day, and catching all the times that you don't feel that you're in that natural flow, you catch that and you're like, no, you know what? No, that's not what we are anymore. We meaning all parts of you. We are the opposite, or we are happiness, joy, ease, grace, flow, whatever it is. That will make a difference. But it is a lot of work. You have to consciously catch yourself and do these things. Okay, the next card, which is also a wisdom card, is illuminate. And it says, step out of confusion and become grounded in certainty. This card is asking you to stop looking above and beyond yourself to find your answers, but rather to connect with the unlimited vision that lives within you. Where in your life right now are you looking outside of yourself for the answers? Wow, those two cards really went hand in hand. Like that was crazy to me. Okay, so I'm going to read you. When I'm holding these up, there's energy to these cards, and I'm holding these up so that you can get the energy to them and receive the codes and everything else that they're doing. Because I'm going to show, like, see outside that picture. Well, inside pictures phenomenal too, but see all the stuff on the outside too. A lot of codes, a lot of stuff. So as I'm holding that up, I'm going to read Illuminate. Your core essence is beautiful, pure, and brilliant. The glow of your inner being is brighter than all the stars in the heavens. This card is asking you to go within and connect with your inner light and wisdom. Trust that the radiance of love residing within your heart will light your way. You no longer need to look outside of yourself, for the answers are already present within you. You are now ready to discover the secrets of your inner storehouse of treasures, your true brilliance. That is so true. So, so true. Everything you need is within. Allow yourself to feel that, to bring that into you, and bring it into you, meaning it's coming from deep within and it's moving up into the physical form. You can have your whole thought, have the intention be, say or think something like, I'm bringing my true wisdom and knowledge forward to always know and to always be. Thank you, it is done. I like following things with thank you, it's done, because it's saying, look, we're not working on it, it's done, it's over. So if you want to do something like that, again, it's the intention, it's the wording. If you don't know what the opposite is of what you want, say, I want the opposite. Your system knows what it is. Okay. And now the action card. The action card is surrender. It says release resistance, open to the expanded overview. Okay. And now I'm going to read that. And hello, isn't that like so fitting? Isn't that so fitting? Like all of these are so fitting to me, what Tracy and I talked about and what the messages are coming through for all of humanity right now. So, okay, so here's this one. Surrender. Release resistance to the events and situations in your life. It is of no use to waste trying to resist what is already taking place. Acknowledge the circumstances that are occurring and surrender your resistance. Surrender frees your energy and allows you to see the bigger picture in order to gain a greater understanding of the situation. You cannot see the bigger picture if you are in resistance. The new perspective alone will often set up a chain of events that will change the situation for you. Amen to that, right? Okay, so even in that one, they're saying allow your energy and your fields of light to just expand. If when you're going to bed, you have that whole thought be, I'm now expanding beyond all I have known. Wake up. We. So if you don't want to say I, if you're saying I, that's fine. But we incorporates all parts of you. You will automatically flip into the we at one point. So don't even worry about that. When you wake up, I or we, meaning all parts of you, we expand into all that we are. We expand our mind. We expand all aspects of our life into love and joy. I like that one. We expand all aspects of our life into love and joy. Okay, hopefully that all resonates with you. And if not, that's okay. Yeah, let it go. Maybe another one will go because apparently they're saying I'm going to be doing these every now and then. So I'm assuming, I don't know. I'm not going to assume. I'm just going to go with the flow. So we're going to flow with ease and grace. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. You know that. Any questions, any comments, please throw them in the comment section below, and I will definitely see them. I will answer them. I will love them. I will like them. I will do everything that needs to be. I love you so much. Have an awesome everything, and I'll talk to you soon.